Greetings. R.I.P. to Mr. George Floyd. We back out here getting it in. I want to talk about a situation right now. I'm going to title this video Conditions. Conditions are what a lot of the Afro people have. Afro-American human beings, black, Negro. We've worn a lot of titles on this planet. As Oprah said one day, kind of blew my mind to hear her say that. But not really though, Oh, man. Woo. I ain't been out here in a minute. So let me talk about conditions real quick. And let me send my condolences to Mr. George Floyd family. There go my white butterfly again. Wow, it's a blessing. Send my condolences to Mr. George Floyd family. And let me talk about conditions real quick. I was having a conversation this morning with the mother of my kids, right? Having a conversation this morning. I'm gonna get right into it. A lot of us grew up in what we call bad conditions. I grew up in the 80s. Yes, of course, parents on drugs. It was the thing to do. They did everything possible to get this addiction because that's exactly what it was. I've learned how addictions work. They don't stop. Relentless. Once some kind of chemical enters your body or your mind and becomes an addiction, sometimes it can be the hardest thing to kick, right? Conditions. Growing up in these conditions, growing up seeing all of these circumstances, all of these situations, and all of these incidents taking place as a kid. People being shot, walking to school, seeing what happened the night before, blood stains all in the middle of the street, walking past dudes with jerry curls with holes in their head, covered in bloody blankets. Conditions. What makes these conditions so bad is that not everybody on the planet or even in the surrounding neighborhoods would experience this. Let's use George Floyd for an example. They said, from what I've heard, that the man allegedly tried to use a $20 bill that wasn't real. Mind you, brothers, sisters out there, human beings, if you got some money and you can help somebody, even if it's helping them get off drugs or what have you, if you got some money and you can help somebody, won't you do it, please? Okay? This man died they say, allegedly trying to spend a $20 bill that wasn't real, whatever. He came to a city to change his life. Because that fight, now here we go, that fight that we fight out here with this skin color on, that fight that we fight being Afro-American people, black, Negro, whatever you want to call it, that hate that you seen, that hate that you witnessed for yourself is the type of shit that we get out here and face when it's time to look for a job, when it's time to just walk into a restaurant, when it's time to go to the store to get you something to eat, when it's time to go and buy a soda pop, every time you step out your door, you faced with these conditions, right? So now we're supposed to go home to our so-called woman or wife who grew up under certain conditions herself and hasn't had the counseling to respect you, and you haven't had the counseling to respect her. Nobody's healed, but they all together. Nobody's healed, but we all together. Nobody respects each other's condition that we face on this planet, but we together thinking that heaven is supposed to reign on the relationship. I said this morning, I didn't grow up knowing how to respect a woman that would go toe to toe with me in a relationship. I didn't really know how to do that. Later on in life, after time and experience, I'm learning how to do better. You feel me? I'm learning how to do better. But what it's taken is time and experience in order for me to do this, right? Growing up with conditions. All you knew was every Afro-American man that you saw in your life had a hard time, except for certain ones who slipped through the cracks, made it through, and even then, a lot of them turned into Uncle Toms, a lot of them turned into different type of men to be accepted. And the ones that didn't ended up, most of them in prison, most of them gay, dead in jail, what have you. Conditions, man. The reason why a lot of these relationships ain't working is because of certain conditions that one has grown up with and has not had the help for. 90% of Afro-American people need to be talking to a psychiatrist, a psychologist on a day-to-day basis. At least once, twice a week. Somebody who they can put their trust in, for somebody to just listen. Because see, a woman with conditions cannot listen to you. Even if it's your mate. If your mate has conditions in her life and she feel like a man should treat her a certain kind of way, which is true. But if both people have conditions, it's not going to happen like that. It's not going to happen like that, period. There's a lot of help that's needed in between these two individuals. But they dig in. I'm going to just be honest with you. A lot of Afro women want to be treated like white women, but with all the glamour, this stuff, all the things, they want to be treated like that, but they don't know that if we didn't come from the same belly. We didn't come from the same backgrounds. We have to learn how to love and get along with each other all over again. Real talk. Look at the hate that exists on our planet right now. This man overkilled that man. If he would have came back too, he would have been dead twice. It was an overkill. The man was already dead. You saw the piss from his body coming from up under the truck. When a woman don't respect a man's conditions and the things that he's been through on this planet, and vice versa, when a man can't learn to respect a woman's, then they can't be together. If the communication, see what happens, all right, what I've learned from my experience is this. The side effects from these conditions is terrible communication in relationship. Why? Because everything you saw from the optic nerve, from your visual growing up, you couldn't communicate with nobody about it. Shit was just happening, and there was no answers. Nobody wanted to hear what you had to say. They called me a cheater. I'm gonna tell you like this: a lot of men, oh, you cheat in relationships and all that. It's like, no. Once I argued with a woman and she left me, I immediately went somewhere else, go entertain another woman or another woman, because it was a condition that I grew up with, to where people was always leaving me. See, the woman don't know that though. She don't know that this dude deal with a condition of, if we're not getting along, or if we're not seeing eye to eye, and over a period of time of just trying to get along, not working, and then all of a sudden the arguments come, the person leave for 2 or 3 days. I had a very serious problem with that, because everybody in my life had left. Everybody was leaving. Either their mind was gone to the point to where it was drugs and they was chasing that. Growing up as basically a little toddler, or they had to leave because of whatever situation. I grew up with that. So if I got into an argument with my girl or something, and she was the type, because certain women are like that. They're the type, instead of trying to deal with the conditions, they'll leave. Right? And it was like with me, I know that I'm not a player. I know that I'm not a cheater and all of that. But the condition said, you don't let nobody break your heart no more. You don't if a person leave you, you leave them. I don't care if they come back or not. If they don't come back, I'll deal with it. Conditions. You see what I'm saying? It took a lot to work on that with myself. That's why it's very important that you're equally yoked and you get along with the person that you're involving yourself with. It's very important. It's very important that she knows what you've been through. He knows what you've been through. And if y'all love each other, y'all have to learn with time how to respect each other. And if it start out good, just keep it good. When that argument try to find itself or trying to see its way in, work on it. Say, okay, what is this? We already know we haven't been doing this. This is creeping in. So what's up? So how are we gonna deal with it? But there's another type of woman and another type of man. It's called the one that can't listen. If you're in a relationship and your woman can't listen to you, especially the woman, that's going to be a very serious problem. A very serious problem. If you're in a relationship and the man can't listen to you, it's going to be a very serious problem, because then you have a communication problem. And communication problems in a relationship never works. All right? I'm going to get back to what I was saying. This may be a long video. Hopefully the people, shout out to the people that can listen. Because I don't care how I look right now. I don't care about none of that. I'm out here waiting on a phone call, which I'm sure that'll come, but God will be done. My will be done. And angels see me through on this journey, because I'm on one. I've been on the journey. It's been a journey my whole life. Now, I tell a lot of people that I was raised by the Holy Spirit, which means when my parents was not present like most of the time, they were there, but they wasn't there mentally. And when I say most of the time, I mean, there's times where mom and dad was there, period. But once something get a hold of your mind, then it can affect everything around you, including your kids and raising them and everything else. See, this depression state that America and all around the world has put the Afro people in has affected them to the point to where anything that came to numb the mental state of where you live, anything that came to numb the mental state of how hard your man is having it in life, how your woman is being discriminated against, how your man is being anything that came to numb that. A lot of people use weed. Back then it was cocaine. Some people use sherm. Some people use PCP, opioids, or whatever. Anything that'll numb. Now let's go worldwide. Let's go human. Anything that'll numb a human being's pain. From poverty, especially the poverty state. Gotta be careful. Sometimes I get bit in the face out here, but I'm good. Anything to numb that poverty state, right? People will do. I've done it. I smoke weed, but I thank God I quit, drug free. But at the same time, I smoked a lot of weed because I wanted to escape what was presently happening at the time. We always had constant reminders of the depression, slavery. They was always making movies about it. COVID-19 stopped everybody from going to the movies. It's not, there'll probably be another one in there right now. So now we watch this cop. Now we watch this punk ass cop murder a man right there in broad daylight, with everybody watching on camera, with his hand in his pocket, with his knee on his neck, and he literally executed this man, literally choked the life out this man. I've been in my living room, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I was going through so much at one time. I was in my living room floor, on my knees, with my hands in the air, and I literally called out my mother's name because the pain was so severe. I called on my mother, for real. And I could have called her on the phone, but I don't know, maybe I couldn't get in contact with her. I called on God, I called on my mom. It was that much pain. And a lot of it was due because of the communication in the relationship. See, what happens is a woman been trained to think that she's the only one that can hurt. All of these men out here are not playing fair. They handing the ball to the woman. And I'm not women bashing or nothing. I'm just being real. They handing the ball to the woman when it takes two. You can hurt. Hurt is hurt, dude. I don't care who you are. It feels the same way from a man to a woman. Chop somebody's arm off and see who don't scream. Play with somebody's heart, hurt somebody's heart, and you may not even know how you hurt that person's heart. Because a lot of the times the women say, they'll know. See, one thing about the woman, the female energy, is that she can know that she's hurting you, but still blame you and not even have to care about it. Oh, it hurt me when you left. Oh, it hurt me when you said that. See, we're not taught to display our hurt, right? We're not taught to display our hurt as men, so it keeps getting done to us. And then when we do something about it, it's your fault. Men got it bad, especially an Afro man. Men got it bad in this states, man. In this country right here. Men got it bad because they all cater, this states, this country particularly cater to women. I believe in respect for all mankind. Back and forth. Respect the person conditions. If you know a man in a wheelchair, and you, both of you guys are getting on the elevator, you let him on first, let him turn his wheelchair around so he can get off. That's respecting that man's condition. I'll use something small like that. That's respecting that man's condition. If you see a blind man crossing the street and finna walk into traffic, that's respecting that man's condition. If you're in a relationship and you know that your husband or your wife or your mate or somebody that you love and care about, you know that they whole childhood was a mental horror movie, you should respect their conditions, because there's good in everybody. Just because a person had a hard life like that doesn't mean that there's no good in them. I want to say something real quick. Wealth. This is off the record. I don't know why it just came to me to say, but I'm going to say it. Wealth. If you're watching, wealth come to us from the north, south, east, and west in large amounts without hesitation, because we care about people and we want to do the necessary things that we can do for our families and for our loved ones in this life. That man, George Floyd, died. I believe part of my opinion, part of the reason why he died was because of poverty. According to what they saying that he was, I heard a guy arguing with the guy outside the store talking about fake money or something like that. Now, we don't know if this man knew that the money was fake or not. We don't know. But he came to another place. He left the state that he was in to come to another state to get his life straight. All you want to do is eat. All you want to do is have some money in your pocket, man. What's wrong with that, yo? You get 75, 80, 90 years on this planet, and you go the whole time broke, working your bones to death, killing yourself? Who wants that? I mean, we can set up a society to where it doesn't have to be that way. For real. Trust me. We can set up, they already did it. A lot of people sitting at home right now getting decent money. Yeah, we have people that work and love to build but people that love to do what they love to do is going to do what they do. This probably going to be a part, I'm probably going to make a part 2 to this video. I feel like I have to. For people that, this one, I'll probably go 27 minutes. But this video right here is very important to me. I think I'm going to name it George Floyd Conditions. George Floyd / Conditions. And shout out to Floyd Mayweather for paying for that man's funeral. Shout out to Kanye West. Kim Kardashian and all them people for helping that man's family, and so on and so forth. Because we talk about these people, but we don't know what these people are doing behind the scenes. A lot of these people have hearts for mankind, because I'm going to tell you something. Once you get a bunch of money and you have it for a long time, you realize that giving it away to really help somebody is one of the best feelings in the world. Especially when you got it to do it. So I know this is one of my longer videos, but It has to be said and it has to be done. Conditions. Always remember, always know this. Conditions is something that has to be dealt with. And if it's not dealt with, then it creates situations and circumstances in life that are tormenting to the mind, can be very tormenting to other people. I have a daughter right now, right? I have a daughter who's about 10 years old. I never claimed to be perfect, but her something happened with her mom to where she was raped and left for dead. So I didn't know this by meeting this lady, but because I barely knew her, just to be honest with you. Things happen. Well, actually, she's 11 now, because she's 11. So things happen, and she won't let me see my daughter because she's saying she won't so-called child support and this and that, but she won't let me see her because she said, I don't want my daughter believing in God, because she sneak and watch videos on me and all of that. And she said, I don't want my daughter believing in God, so I'm going to keep her away from you. Conditions. Whatever happened to her in life, she don't want to believe in God, which is understood from a certain standpoint. She don't want to believe in God because she said, why would God let that happen to me? Is what she said. Right? So if God let this happen to me, I don't want to believe in God. Let me say something about that. These conditions that we put on God, I believe we have to deal with our minds and our spirituality in a different type of way. I do. All that these people told us about God and all what happens in life, I'm a true believer of God. I'm a true believer of the art of creation. God meaning power, meaning higher power. There's a lot of beauty on the planet, as well as the opposite. If I knew everything, I talk to Brother Fred sometimes. I tell him there's some things in this life that I may not ever figure out, and I'm not going to do a whole lot of wrecking my brain with the amount of moments I have on this planet trying to figure it out. There's some things natural. There's some things naturally. Look at that. Natural and unnatural that I'll just never understand. But I'm not going to wreck my brain trying to figure it out. Man, it's kind of windy out here. I don't know. Got a stuffy nose for some reason. So I'm going to end this video. Conditions. Conditions have us, conditions from childhood situations, tears relationships up between parents, kids, but only if you let it. We can deal with these conditions. They can be dealt with. That's the power of God. Peace and blessings to you guys, man. Keep your head up. I may run me another video because there's some other things that I want to say, but this one is about 30 minutes long already. So, God bless.